I would love everyone to listen to me, especially those with the African nature. Not all black people or black skinned people are Africans or have African ancestry. Not all black African Americans are descendants of slave immigrants. Now, 6 out of every 10 black African Americans might say that their ancestors were slaves. However, that does not mean that others aren't Africans. It simply means that the remaining 4 out of the 10 might be the children of African later immigrants. That is, these current immigrants like Nigerians, Kenyans, Cameroonians, Gambians who traveled to America and settled. There are black African Americans whose ancestors were neither slaves nor later immigrants. There are Africans who traveled during the ancient times for businesses in the faraway lands. Some settled in Europe, in America, etc. as far back as BCs. Some multiplied in those virgin territories as the original owners of the land or original occupiers of the land. However, other races came with pretense, came with friendship, later on overpowered, annihilated, like as it said, killed off most of these African races and inhabited their lands. I want you to know that African is not about the blackness or the darkness of your skin color. It is about the distinctive features that you have as a particular group of people called the Alkebulans. Now let us use the canines as example. We have different breeds of dogs, right? Dogs are dogs just the way people are people. Now for the breeds of dogs, for us we're talking about races, right? Either you are African or you're this, you're that. Now for the dogs, look at your screen. All these dogs are golden retrievers, irrespective of the shades of their fur. You will see we have the white, we have the brown, we have the lighter brown, deeper brown, we have the brown, we have the black. They are all golden retrievers. Now, what made them golden retrievers aren't the shades of their furs. It's actually the distinctive features that made them identical. That is what makes them a unique set of breed. The same is applicable to Cocker Spaniel or the Labradors. There are black Chinese people, there are black Indians. It is not their color that make them Indians. It is their identical features with the other Indians that make them look alike. Now, Africans have distinctive features. It is not our shade of skin that made us African. No, it is our features. That is why you cannot call the black Indian an African or the black Asian an African. No, they are the Asians. These are the Indians. These are the Chinese people. But for the Africans, it is our distinctive features, greatly described even by Herodotus, while talking about the people that are the Alkebulans, the sun people.
Walking down the streets, feeling the breeze, in the sunshine state where dreams come with ease. Palm trees swaying with the ocean in view.
Yeah, it's becoming harder and harder for you guys to keep up with these paying goofy lies, right? This Bush baby says Africa is a continent with 54 countries, no, 54 third world shitholes, but I'm gonna stop being petty. And 3,000 plus indigenous ethnic groups. Y'all all speak French and English. Fuck out of here with that. Wait, I'm being petty. No one's identity is African. Black Americans are the descendants of people from various African tribes enslaved. Yeah. Funny how the Bush babies, who just got Wi-Fi yesterday, who still don't even have paved roads, they're gonna tell us who we descend from, but they can't name the African tribe they're claiming we were stolen from. You can't tell us what African tribe you're claiming we come from. And then we also have to ask, even if you do name a tribe, does that tribe even have oral tradition of their fellow tribal members being taken? And then the third question becomes, why did they never go looking for their fellow tribal members that they claim were stolen? I mean, the math just ain't math. And see what it is the only thing you Africans have had going for yourselves is your alleged kinship to us. because we're globally successful and you're known as global failures.
At first, when I watched the video, I felt a pang that screamed propaganda or sabotage. So I decided to skip every of the rants and went back to the beginning and I watched this. Look at your screen.
You have been warned. There's a new kid on the block. My YouTube audience has been begging me to come over to TikTok. The audience has been begging me to come over to TikTok. The audience has been begging me to come over to TikTok. Say there's a lot of $5 Indians playing games. It's a lot of Africans running around trying to speak on our lineage. I'm just here to say, the jig is up. Say there's a lot of $5 Indians playing games. It's a lot of Africans running around trying to speak on our lineage. I'm just here to say, the jig is up.
Please, if you look closely, there is nothing African. We're not even talking about black. He's not black. But there is nothing African about this chihuahua right here. Even if you are a mixed race, we have the looks, we have the hairs. Now, when you look at him, he screams non-black in every kind of way. Right? He screams non-African in every kind of way. To me, he looks Mexican. His hairs gave him away. So currently, he's trying to hide his identity by always shaving off. But you can't deceive anyone. This thing right here is the propaganda. There are people with grudges and will say anything to continue confusing the already confused. Because for you to get brainwashed by people like this, you're already confused.
Yeah, it's becoming harder and harder for you guys to keep up with these pink, goofy lies, right? This Bush baby says Africa is a continent with 54 countries, no, 54 third world shitholes, but I'm gonna stop being petty. And 3,000 plus indigenous ethnic groups. Y'all all speak French and English. Fuck out of here with that. Wait, I'm being petty. No one's identity is African. Black Americans are the descendants of people from various African tribes enslaved. Yeah. Funny how the Bush babies, who just got Wi-Fi yesterday, who still don't even have paved roads, they're gonna tell us who we descend from, but they can't name the African tribe they're claiming we were stolen from. You can't tell us what African tribe you're claiming we come from. And then we also have to ask, even if you do name a tribe, does that tribe even have oral tradition of their fellow tribal members being taken? And then the third question becomes, why did they never go looking for their fellow tribal members that they claim were stolen? I mean, the math just ain't mathin'. See, what it is the only thing you Africans have had going for yourselves is your alleged kinship to us, because we're globally successful and you're known as global failures. See, what it is the only thing you Africans have had going for yourselves is your alleged kinship to us, because we're globally successful and you're known as global failures.
Every time you see a comment like this, I'm gonna shut this shit the fuck down, because this is a lie that has been pushed out by these devils. Africa will never accept us. Our own people don't like us. This is a lie that has been spread to make us divided. Our African people love us. African people is our home. African people want us to come back to Africa. African people adore us. African people want to see us thriving. Our people want us to be reconnected back to our home. This lie is the very same lie that will keep us fighting, and that spirit is not of us as African people, and that is a spirit I destroy. I declare that lie is dead in the name of the ancestors, because lies will not continue to go around to keep us divided, to keep us misguided, to keep us wanting to fight one another. That spirit is not of us, and I cast that spirit away from us permanently.
In this crazy life we live, we all need someone to hold, a friend to light the way when the world starts to unfold. Through all the ups and downs,
I don't have to start explaining the immigration and the slavery, all right? Because it is a known fact globally, or is it? So I will address this issue in two ways. This thing here had been saying the same thing all through the videos he's been posting towards blasting the said black Americans are from Africa. He dedicated his channel to ranting about something that is not related to him. You don't even look half black, talk more of looking African. So let us start it this way. I will call you an imposter. Okay? If a black American with African features want to counter or drop their opinion, it shouldn't be you. You have no right to speak about what you know nothing about. You might be Mexican or from elsewhere, but yes, you got one thing right. You are not African. And you are correct because you are definitely not one of us, both in your looks, in your features, and in every other aspect. You might be living with someone with a brown shade, go ask them where you came from. But nothing about this person here is African. When we see the true mixed people we know. Second, yes, there's been some slack or abnormalities in the teachings and educational system of African history in America by Americans, but it is strictly on America. However, this level of stupidity by this chihuahua is not on America. This has nothing to do with knowing the history. This right here knows what it is doing, very intentional with his statements. He believed and thrives from the emotional chaos he engineers from people. Watch his looks. He is not an ignorant man. No, don't let him deceive you. He is very strategic. I would term him a strategically narcissistic man who knows the truth but just wants to spit fire, and he believed he has the goons who will come online and support him just to make it look like, yes, he has an army of real black African Americans. Now, you contradicted yourself. I get it that some African Americans are confused. I know when they speak, you will see the confusion written all over them. But you see, this right here is neither both. Now, you contradicted yourself. You said that not all black Americans are from Africa. So, which means that there are black Americans who are Africans, right? Now, for the purpose of my audience, just to refresh our memory, I will say it here. There are three groups of African people in the Western world. One are the early migrants who make up 5%. Why? Because of the total or partial annihilation that took place some centuries ago. Second are the enslaved settlers who were immigrants shipped as slaves to America. And third are the sojourners, the people that traveled on their own in this current time to America. Now, the enslaved settlers may make up to 95% of the indigenous Americans. Why 5% are the indigenous Americans who went earlier? When we say Africa, we are not talking about the region or the location. We are talking about the people, a group of people irrespective of their location. This takes us to the forgotten history which the Western world had tried so much to erase completely from history. There are black people in the Roman and British colonies. There are black people in Asia, right? There are black people from time immemorial. And there are black African people from time immemorial, and black African people who are found in various clans in other areas aside the continents where our Cubans are known to reside. Most of them went there for businesses. Even in the time before the death of Christ, black Africans were found amongst the races and in their clans. These are merchants or descendants of merchants from their black territory to other Western territory, and also Africans in their major occupied territory, which they settled first during migration. I've talked about the annihilation of the people right? So yes, not all black African people in Europe and America are descendants of slavery or descendants of slaves. Some sojourned on their own. Some were the descendants of businessmen and women who were either early settlers or later settlers. However, these blacks with distinctive features who are sojourners and businessmen are the Alkebulan, the some people called Africans, people whose hair are the woolliest of all, looking singed, people whose skin looked burnt like copper and brass. They have sparkly eyes. They appear more huge with a calm but very intimidating presence.
The Alkebulans have the genetic makeup of all races, which explains why an Alkebulan woman can give birth to a fair and blue-eyed baby. Though rare, but it happens, and the Alkebulans are the strongest, long-lived, nature-abiding, and highly spiritual people.
The Africans had been in existence since creation. And we've been travelers doing businesses. Some are porters, some are doing sculpturing work, some are traders. I'm talking about ancient and medieval times, BCs, ADs. According to the report, it was stated that more than 10 to 12 million Africans were transported to the Americas as slaves. I'm talking about the North America, the South America, the West Indies. Now, out of these people, only a few went to United States of America. Yes. And according to reports, some say 330 something thousand. That's false. According to report, approximately 600,000. And before the abolition of slavery, around 1860, more than 4.5 million black people, black Africans in America. Now, in the year 1865, when slavery was constitutionally abolished by the 13th Amendment to the USA Constitution in the United States in 1865, over 4 million slaves were freed. Meanwhile, the American Civil War resulted in the loss of more than 600,000 black lives. What does that tell you? It simply means that as at that time, that up more than 98% of the black Africans there were descendants of slaves. Also, do not forget that during the slave trade, that due to the heavy presence of the Europeans in the United States of America, that is in the Americas colony, that a lot of black people who were free sojourners eloped from the American continent for fear of being hijacked or abducted. So it simply means that majority of the willful sojourners of the black people, irrespective of their race, I'm talking about people who survived annihilation, left the American continent until slavery was abolished. Did you understand that? So what it simply means is that 99% of the black African looking people in the United States of America who are indigenous Americans or termed black Americans were the descendants of slaves. And most of the black slaves migrated between one country to another. And so many of them now moved into America after the abolition of slave trade. There may be up to 1 million or 2 million of African-looking people in America who were neither descendants of slaves or the descendants of the current immigrants. Yes, we agree to that. However, if your own ancestors didn't go to America as slaves, it's likely true, but do not fight those who wish to trace their roots to Africa. Your African ancestors might not be slaves, but they are Africans. It is a very simple fact that you should not debate. If you say they are not Africans, then they never shared our looks or even black to begin with. And please stop this crusade and speak for your naive self. Stop mocking or exposing the already injured lineage. Allow these people whose ancestors were taken against their will to express themselves and identify and connect with their roots. However, if there is one thing that is obvious about you, it is the fact that you are not black, number one, and you are not African, number two. We don't know your roots, but I feel that it is either you are on a mission or you are schizophrenic. Leave the true Africans alone. I don't even want to talk about whether Africa is a continent or a country or if there are 54 countries. See, you can believe or say whatever it is you want to say because you know the truth and you know what you are doing. I will not come here to say, let me educate the ignorance. No, you are not ignorant. You are just arrogant.
Walking down the streets, feeling the breeze. In the sunshine state where dreams come with ease. Palm trees swaying with the ocean in view. This is the place where I always feel brand new.